All right, it's time for our post-game coaches' comments with Lobo head coach Paul Weir. Coach Weir, start with this. The Lobos assisted 6 times on 22 field goals. Hunter talked about the offense looking to find its rhythm tonight. It never seemed to. What were your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think first off, you got to give UNLV credit. I thought their speed on the perimeter, one-on-one defense-wise, gave us a lot of problems with A, getting the ball to good spots on the floor, and B, getting the ball inside, or just being able to get around guys and kind of get to the paint. So you got to give them credit. I thought we went a little bit of a stretch there in the first half where we just missed several layups and just couldn't. I thought there was a chance there for us to really kind of get into a good rhythm and really play a good game, I thought, midway through the first half. And I think we might have missed 4 out of 5 just consecutive layups and, just some bunnies there. And unfortunately, we don't have a big enough margin to overcome those kinds of things. And then when the turnovers kick in, obviously it's really hard to overcome that as well. So we just could never really quite get into a good rhythm. Part of it, UNLV, like I said, I think their speed really kind of bothered us in different ways. And then obviously I think ourselves just kind of turning that ball over and then missing some real easy layups. And unfortunately missing some free throws as well. We just, you get to the line and sometimes you just need those to break a run or just kind of make yourself feel good or whatever. And when you get up there to miss, you're just seeing more misses and it just kind of keeps cycling from there.
Coach, you guys started the game with tremendous energy, especially on the defensive end. You started that man-to-man and then offensively. Talk about what was the strategy offensively to start the game?
Yeah, same thing we really did against Wyoming. We were really just trying to get the ball moving, and just sharing it, being a team. And, like I said, I think there are times where their speed didn't really allow us to get by anybody. And unfortunately, we settled for some shots. They took some charges. We did some things like that. And we took a lot of shots probably in the first half of the clock. And every time we were coming to timeout saying, guys, we got to get to the third, the fourth side of the floor. We're taking these first and second side shots, which if they're there in transition or they're open, let's take them. But we've got to be able to get the ball moving more. But unfortunately, I just think their speed and them climbing into us just kind of, force some guys to drive prematurely or get sped up and not have kind of the patience or the confidence to just move the ball and have good team offense.
When you started the game, it appeared that you wanted to go inside because Carlton Bragg, I think, scored his first bucket in the paint.
Yeah.
In fact, you led in the first half scoring points in the paint.
Yeah, we did.
And then really didn't shoot many threes in the first half and then kind of got away from going into the paint.
We did. I thought as the game went on, our paint touches got further and further away from the rim, and that's both. That's bigs being able to really seal and get in deep, and that's guards being able to get to good spots and feed. And, we were talking about in the timeouts as well, all our second half post feeds were 5, 6, 7 feet off the lane, and our post feeds early in the game were down around the block area where guys can go to work. So that's why all our second half post shots were kind of just off balance, away from the rim kind of looks. And again, you got to credit UNLV for being very physical down there and pushing us off the lane. And obviously their guard pressure on the perimeter just kind of forced our guards back a little further or just, prevented them from making kind of good post entry feeds.
This might overlap a little bit with something that you mentioned already about maybe a few early shots and not enough second and third side with moving the ball. But with regard to the 3-point shots, 23 attempts, just 6 makes. You've talked about how important the 3 is, not just to the Lobos, but in the college game now. Evaluate the 3-point attempts that the Lobos had, and were you happy with them?
Yeah, I did. I thought we had some pretty good looks, and those just don't go down sometimes, and that's part of the game. That's where the layups and the free throws, I think, would have really opened some things up, because when you're scoring around the rim, those other ones on the perimeter become a lot easier. But unfortunately, because we weren't able to generate around there, or the ones we did generate, we just missed so many bunnies around there. It just didn't allow everything to collapse as much because we weren't scoring there. So without being able to kind of score around the paint, unfortunately, those 3-point shots get a little harder. But even independent of that, there were some shots that obviously we need to go down when they're there. I thought Vegas made some really good 3-point shots later in the clock, deeper, hands in their face. And when a team's making shots like that and you're not, that's a tough one to swing. they're good. I mean, they played well. I mean, they made some really good shots, and unfortunately, we didn't. You know, we didn't make a lot of hard shots, and you have to give them credit.
Yeah, Mathis just really couldn't get in the rhythm, and they really took him off the line.
Yeah, they
did. And there were opportunities. I think there was one play where Mathis went back door and got a pass and scored, but didn't convert the three-point play. But those type of plays, were you trying to get touches for Mathis?
We did. I mean, you know, the reality is when teams are playing that way, it opened up a lot for other guys, you know, and I thought, you know, McGee had a lot of great drives. I thought Vance Jackson had a lot of isolated one-on-one play. I thought we had some stuff around the rim. We tried to backdoor Anthony again later there in the second half and turned it over, and you just start to get nervous about who can actually deliver that. And unfortunately, until we can get Quach going, you know, it just leaves our offense kind of without a lot of weapons on the perimeter to kind of help open things up to where maybe they would have to guard Tone more traditionally. But right now, you can guard Anthony that way and tell those other guys to try and kind of beat you one-on-one. And unfortunately, those guys just we're in a bit of a rut offensively of them being able to make people pay for just isolated one-on-one play.
There were a couple of times where Keith McGee got deep and he did get a shot altered or blocked, but overall, a terrific night. I think you'd have to say he didn't turn it over, and again got to the rim. You mentioned the last time we spoke about him that you saw a little bit of Anthony Jackson in him, and he got you 12 points and did some nice things in 23 and a half minutes. Continued development there.
Yeah, no, we need him offensively. He's probably the only player we have that can offensively create one-on-one and get to a rim and make a play. And, you know, last year, obviously, we had a few of those guys, but this year, he's probably the only true one-on-one from the perimeter threat that we have. Unfortunately, defensively, he's just really young. He's got a long way to go. And, you know, the ball screens were hard for him. You know, those veteran guards were, you know, just kind of picking on him a little bit. And I think that's where defensively, you know, he struggled a little bit tonight. And we were just trying to kind of weigh how much we needed him offensively, but in comparison to those guards, and the Vegas guards were really good tonight at just kind of using screens and playing well out of them.
You did focus a lot of your defensive game plan on, you know, one guy, and I thought you guys did a great job. Your thoughts on that in terms of defending Joel Tomboy, but then in the process of trying to, you know, get him off his spots, Nick Blair comes.
Yeah.
He hadn't had a double-figure game.
He was
all
tremendous.
season.
I told the guy he was the best player on the court, and you know, we kind of went into it saying we need to contain these guards from dribble penetration, which I thought we did a better job of, and we need to contain 24, and we needed you know, game one was all about those points in the paint. Like, we got to find a way to protect the paint. And if they're going to make contested threes from the perimeter, we might have to live with some of them. And they made some. I mean, Robotham made some terrific shots under traffic. I thought Hardy was really good. I mean, they made some really good plays, those guards. But I thought overall it wasn't a game changer. Blair obviously was. And when he started making threes, then we had to guard him. Then he's off the bounce. I mean, I think he made 4 threes, 4 twos, 5 free throws, 3 offensive rebounds. I mean, that's went through his whole stat line with the guys and say, hey, man, I mean, that's tremendous production to get something like that off the bench for them. And you have to tip your cap to a player like that who's able to come out and give them that kind of production. I'm envious. I mean, it was incredible. And tip your cap to him and obviously Vegas for being able to withstand someone taking away your leading scorer and your 3 leading guards and still having enough talent to bring a guy out who can give you that kind of night. It's impressive.
I want to ask the match of wits, right? The way that Coach Manzi's, you know, a mentor of yours,
sure,
and the way he defended Anthony Mathis, and you know, you're looking for other players to step up, and you think opportunities are there, and what you guys were able to do, and sort of focusing on, you know, Tomboy and face guarding him, and kind of, you know, take him out of his game, and the way that they got other players to step up.
Yeah.
Sometimes that you just look down, and that's the way it plays out, right?
For sure. I mean, look, I think anyone that goes into a game, teams want to play us and say, look, as long as Mathis doesn't beat us, we're fine, you know, and we're everyone's doing the same thing. We're playing Wyoming. You try and take away Justin James. I mean, and when you have a player like Blair step up and play well, I mean, it's not necessarily something you want. It's not something that you think is going to happen, but that's part of what makes a good team a good team. It's what made last year's team for us so good. We were so versatile and so deep with our ability to score from different parts on the floor. And unfortunately, right now, we haven't been able to find a good offensive rhythm to how we're playing. So that's on me as a coach. I've got to continue to kind of figure out a way to tinker with this thing offensively to get us to be more productive there. And hopefully we'll be able to do that going forward.
Yeah, I mean, 60 points. We couldn't get to 60 points. And
yeah.
I think Air Force beat this team at 106 points. They put up 106 points.
They did.
Got to figure out how we can score the basketball, because that's clearly was the issue tonight. When you look at the numbers, rebounding, hey, New Mexico rebounded the basketball. Yeah, you didn't take care of it quite as well as you wanted to. You had 14 turnovers, but scoring the basketball is where the struggle was tonight.
No question. No question.
With regard to the offense, I remember at the start of the year, the focus was on defense. You thought that the team would be able to score.
Yeah.
You weren't. But
I felt with our shooting we could. Unfortunately, we just haven't been able to shoot the ball from some different spots like we thought we would, and it's clogged some things up. And we have good shooters. Unfortunately, they're just not going down as much. And I think until those guys can make shots to open the floor, I mean, like Blair tonight, you don't guard him, he makes shots. Now you got to guard him, and the game opens up. And until I think we can get more there from the perimeter, we're very limited right now, and that's a coaching thing as well. I've got to find a way to continue to work with this team offensively where we can find a way to be more productive.
All right, Coach Weir, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Utah
Coach.
State at home, and
Thanks.
we'll see you back in Albuquerque.
Take care.
Lobo head coach Paul Weir, our guest. Your post-game coach's comments. New Mexico falls to UNLV 74-58. Back after this timeout at the Thomas and Mack Center. You're listening to Lobo Basketball from Learfield.